Moi, everybody. That's unfortunately that's how far my Finnish goes until now. So sorry, but I'm gonna have to do this in English, unless you prefer French. But I'm not sure that's is gonna be helpful. Yeah, I'll be presenting today the how we can help you with your Windows 7, Windows 8 migrations, especially when it comes to compatibility of your applications. So I'm going to use a few slides and then I'll move pretty quickly to a demo of the solution. So what we're going to be talking about here is application compatibility. And according to Chris Jackson, Microsoft Principal Consultant and known also as Mr. App Compat at Microsoft, application compatibility is the single biggest blocker to enterprise Windows 7, Windows 8 migrations. So there is a strong need to check, to assess applications for compatibility for all your apps that you have been using on Windows XP when you want to move them to 7. And then Gartner is saying that many customers have reduced the application testing time by more than 40% by using automated solutions to do this assessment work. And this is what we're going to talk about today. So how we can speed up your migration and your assessment. Now it's very important also because, as we all know, XP is going end of life April next year. So if you haven't migrated yet, and I'm sure you are about to, yeah, it's becoming important. So what is application readiness? This is a term that we use to describe the challenge that your organizations are facing by getting your applications ready to the next platform. So the next platform can be the next operating system, Windows 7 or Windows 8. But also, it could be the new virtualization, like application virtualizations, like AppV, or Citrix, XenApp, or VMware, Workspace virtualization, or VDI is coming. So there's lots of challenges and new needs to get your applications ready to those new platforms. Now, the first step that organizations need to do to migrate the applications is to discover all these apps and make an inventory of this. Now after that, the very important step is to rationalize. Most organizations have been using XP for many years. There are hundreds of applications deployed on the network right now. Now, not all of them will need to be moved to the next platform. There are many duplicates, different versions of the same applications, and you want to consolidate all of this. Now, for this work, the DELL software group that I belong to, Quest, has two main solutions, Case and Asset Manager. So two solutions to help you. On top of a CCM, for example, we can help you do this rationalization. But today what we're going to really talk about is another solution called Changebase. And this is where we're going to, in red here, assess your applications for compatibility and do this in bulk. So basically take all your apps, import them, and batch analyze them. And after that, we're also going to provide you reports, clear reports on which apps are red, they have some issues, and they can't unfortunately be migrated. Or in fact, some components of those applications can't be, are not compatible. Some applications will be amber, and they can be fixed, can be remediated. And some will be green, they're ready to go. So we'll provide you great visibility on this. After that, we're going to fix automatically most of the issues, in fact 95% of them, of the issues that can be fixed, we will do this automatically. And we'll go all the way to, so then after that the apps will need to go to user acceptance testing, and then they will be deployed on the network. And Changebase will also help with the ongoing management of these apps, and we're going to talk about this also. Quick history of Changebase. This solution has been created or funded in 2007. The original product was called AOK. It was the pioneer in the automated application compatibility. First solution out there to do this, to assess in batch mode. And it came from people who were, working in packaging factories. So, it was their job to package in hundreds of applications. The product grew and extended its capabilities over the years, to start with Windows Vista assessment to virtualization, browser, Office checks, and so on. And in November 2011, it was acquired by Quest Software, which itself was acquired by Dell in October last year. So this is a quick history of the solution, Changebase. So as I mentioned, what the core value of Changebase will be about assessment, and will provide you this type of visibility. What is the current status of your applications portfolio? How many applications are green and ready to go? How many apps will have issues? And that is a picture before we do the remediation, and after, once Changebase will have automatically remediated. And as I mentioned, 95% of those Ember issues can be, in fact, will be remediated automatically with Changebase. Now, you can do this work manually, and there's a great tool provided by Microsoft to do this, but it will take time if you do this on a manual basis. And so what we're doing really is speeding up that process. Now, we can help you, of course, with Windows 7 and 8, but also with virtualization challenges. Basically, many organizations are also moving to virtualization technologies like Microsoft AppV, or like VMware ThinApp, Citrix ZenApp, or others. There again, there's a strong need to assess applications. Not all of them can be virtualized. So there again, we can help assessing, and we can help, in fact, even we can virtualize automatically most, applications. So we're going to look at this also today. Office dependencies, Office 2010, Office 2013. We are going to release our checks in a few days. We can also check for dependencies between your apps and Office. Browser, moving from IE6 to IE8 is a big step forward for your web applications. We will be able to tell whether they're going to have some presentation issues also with the browser. And as I mentioned before, we can also help you with the ongoing business as usual packaging management with the automated testing of the Microsoft patch. The Microsoft Patch Tuesdays that come every month. Most organizations check the impact of those patches on the existing applications. That is also a time-consuming task. Now we can automate this. So another great feature from Changebase. And finally, converting non-standard installers. So the setup.exes that you probably have still on your network, some VBS file, all those legacy packages. We can automatically, or we can convert them with Changebase to the standard Windows installer format, or also known as MSI. So application delivery readiness, and then I'm going to move to a demo after this. It's the different steps about Changebase is really about first importing your applications into our database. So that's how we're going to assess this. We're going to scan all the applications, all the installers, and get all the contents from them, import them into our Microsoft SQL database. Once this step is done, we can assess them for, and I hope you can all see it's a bit small, but Windows 7, Windows 8, 32 or 64-bit, but also Windows Server 2008, 2012. If you're deploying on a terminal server, or if you're considering VDI, there are some specific issues that can happen with your apps also. We can test that. Office 27, 10, and 13 coming up soon. Microsoft AppV, as I mentioned, or if we are agnostic here, so if you want to use another virtualization technology like Citrix ZenApp or Symantec, we can also assess for this. And the fixes will be once we have assessed, then we can fix, and finally we can also virtualize automatically. So in the demo that we're going to do, we're going to go through this step: import, assess, look at the reports, and fix, and finally virtualize. Now, just on the import side, what will happen with what happens with applications is they come in different formats, right? In your organizations, and especially you can be given MSI packages, or it could be setup.exes, or as I said, VBS. They come in all format. What we see is the majority, like 40%, 50% are MSIs. It depends on your organizations, but you will have some legacy apps. Now, for this, best is for us is to work with MSIs, and then that's also when we're going to fix them. We'll work with MSI. So the repackaging, we can do this automatically, and we'll use a virtual machine to do this work. We're going to look at this. So, demo. So what I'm going to do is to start Changebase, and you'll see that the interface is fairly simple. And when we started, we have a new project wizard that is going to go through those, help us go through this process. So first, import the packages, then for the legacy applications, configuring and importing them, then assessing, fixing, virtualizing. Okay? So if I go to this packages tab, we will look at these report sections. But first, I need to import some packages, some applications. So for this demo, I've prepared a list of 6 or 7 applications. They are under MSI formats, like this one, or ACDC, a program that, some known applications, some known as not so commercials, and some setup.exe also. There are different ways to import applications. The easiest and the most convenient one is if you have Microsoft SCCM, we can import them directly. So I can browse with SCCM, we can connect through it, and look up for packages that are already on SCCM. Then I can look at those applications and decide to add them to Changebase. So if you have SCCM, very straightforward import process. The import process is still fairly simple if you have many, or in fact, in all cases. This is what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to take those apps and drag them onto the Changebase interface. Now, they are pre-listed here, ready to be imported. And before I click on import, what we're going to see is those MSIs, because they're already into the Windows installer format, we can read those packages. We can understand what is contained in them. So we're going to import them directly, and it's going to be pretty fast. For the setup.exe, I will need to do the repackaging. So for those of you who have packagers, this is something that you know very well. Otherwise, basically the process means we need to understand what this application is doing, what is installing. So we're going to use a clean virtual machine. We're going to install this application, but first we're going to use a monitoring process that's going to spy on everything this package is doing. So we're going to capture all the installers and the files and the change in the registry settings, etc. And the repackaging process is usually manual, so a technical person needs to do this, but it's time consuming. So what we can do here is automate this. So drive a virtual machine ourselves. Changebase, we will see this. We'll start a virtual machine, copy that package, that FileZilla application, install it and monitor it and capture back, create an MSI. Here we're going to use only one application, but if you have 50 or 100 or 500, same thing. We can run that process over a few hours or overnight. No, man effort required. This is the first, great time-saving benefit from Changebase. So I'm going to start that process, and what we're going to see is I've got a folder here under apps, repackage.exe, where we're going to create that MSI. So I'm just going to leave this open on the side. And then also I've got some virtual machines, again on the side, that are currently switched off, and that Changebase is going to resume. So let's kick that import process. So what's going to happen is the MSIs are going to start being imported, and this is what we see here in the greens. And what Changebase is doing is it's looking up at the MSI tables and it's scanning all the files, looking up at the DLL registry settings and importing all of this into the SQL database. Here it's fairly quick. Those MSIs, those packages are quite small, and only have 7 of them. But yes, recently I've done a POC for 1,000 applications, 1,000 MSIs, and it took 6 hours to import on this machine. Now the FileZilla here is imported on the virtual machine. So here this virtual machine has been started, and we can look at what's happening. And what basically Changebase is now driving this VM, this virtual machine, and it's installing this package. So I don't have to do anything. Usually, we need to click on next, 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 and configure it. This is all automated, so I don't really need to see this VM. We're doing this here for the demo, but in production, you can just kick off that process, have many applications, and they'll be repackaged. Now I need to also open that folder here because that's where we're going to have the MSI created soon. So now in the virtual machines, the package, this FileZilla application has been installed. We don't really need this VM anymore. And what Changebase is going to do is to, as you see here, FileZilla is starting to be created. And that's it. Process finished. So we have, in a few minutes, we have imported MSIs, and also repackaged a setup.exe into MSIs, and now most importantly we have the content of those packages into our database. Now what we have to do, all we can do is to assess them for your targeted platform. So that's what we can do here in reports. So we call them reports. You need to see them as checks or tests basically, right? And for that, so in this case, I've pre-selected some. I don't know if you can see this at the top, but at the back. But basically, if your targeted platform is, say, Windows 8 64-bit with AppV, well, I'm going to select the Windows 8 checks, 64-bit, and virtualization with AppV. I could choose, all the virtualizations also. Or what I did also is I added some specific tests for virtualization which then are all hosted or basically using Microsoft RDS if you want to use the remote desktop services. I can also, and I've also added the Windows Server 2012 test. Let's say you want to publish those applications on the Windows Server, we can also test at the same time for this. And I'm going to simply click on Assess. It's a bit cut on the side, but yeah. Assessing, and then this process is going to start here at the, well, we don't see the full screen, but at the bottom, you'll have to trust me for this. It says running selected reports. So it's running right now. And while it's doing this, 19 out of 81, what we are doing, it's a simple process, but behind this, there's a huge knowledge and many rules that we are using. Basically, this is the fruit of years of experience and hundreds of packages, testing and feedback that our customers, worldwide have provided us with, and our experience. So behind this, there's actually, you see here the report. There's 47 and 508 rules behind this. Lots of knowledge. And if we expand those checks and look at the Windows 8, for example, well, these are all the issues. Going back on this, the process is finished, but these are all the issues that can happen when you move your applications on Windows 8. So the most common ones are issues with the UAC, the user acceptance control, but also some issues with custom actions and so on. So we can go in details if you want, But otherwise, if you want to know what these tests are all about, the easiest way is to click on this magnifier tool, and now I can see the details of the description, what this test is doing, and also if there is or not an automated fix for it. And then we'll explain to you what we're going to do, how we're going to fix this application. So all those checks, and of course it's flexible. You can run all of them or specific ones depending on your requirements. But let's look back at the results, because we have tested those applications. We have some red, amber, and green test results. So we can have a quick glance at what's happening here. We can see that this FileZilla application is green. It's ready to go for all the tests have been have run. And some applications, and this one especially, have some red, so it has some issues with AppV, and I can look at the specific issues. With 64-bit, I can see that there are some 16-bit file analysis. They're not gonna work on 64, and I can go and look at the details if I want to. So that's one way of looking at the assessment results. But we provide a full list, a full set of reports that's going to provide you, management, all the technical people with the information needed. One great example is the dashboard, which is a web-based interface that's going to provide us with an overview of the application portfolio status, compatibility status. What we see here is this executive summary, is the current situation. For here it's for Windows 8 64-bit. With the applications that I've checked, 43% are ready to go. Some need some fixing. Some will have some issues that can't be fixed. We can look at the top 5 issues. Project managers can look at the current status and how many apps have been imported and fixed and what is the work left to do. So we're really providing you with great visibility, and this reporting dashboard can also we can drill down and look at multiple scenarios. So here we have the different tests with Windows 8 64-bit with AppV, and if we choose instead MSI, so native installers, this is how it will look like. And you might not have decided yet whether you want to use Citrix or terminal services, so you can test this before and look at what will be the outcome of this. So in this case, if we use hosted with Microsoft RDS with MSI, 57% of the apps will be ready to go once Changebase will have fixed them. And if you want to keep looking at the details, of which applications is compatible with which platform, we give you that information also. So here we see the list of apps that we've tested and the different platforms. So this first application has an issue with Windows 8, but it's in Amber and it's got a tick. That means we can fix that. And with AppV, it's ready to go. With 64-bit, it's also ready to go. Agilent, this second application on the other end, is not a good candidate. There are many components of this app that causes problems. That doesn't mean that it's not compatible. It means that those components or manual testing will be needed to do with the users to see whether you need those components or not. And then you can, for the technical packaging people who have to fix those issues or wants to understand more, or for those issues that we can't fix automatically, because we can't do everything, but most of them. But for the issues we can't fix, we will tell you exactly what those issues are and what are the next step, to help you fix them. So, for example, if we look at what could we take? PDF download, or this Clarity ActiveX component. It has some issues with Windows 8 and AppV. I can click on this and then access that package overview report that's going to give me the packaging details of that application, but also the issues description. So I'll see what is this issue about, the details, and what are the next step. And I can even have a link to the next steps if I need to. Same here, custom action, security scan. I'm not too sure what this is doing. This is the issue description, the details, which file is actually concerned. So that's this DLL here, and link to the next step. Well, I've got a document that explains to me also how to reproduce that problem. This is the nice error message that you're going to have if you don't fix it, and explanation of the issue and remediation steps with some additional, sometimes some link to the additional resources also. So great reporting capabilities, great visibility of the issues, and there are other reports that I could show you also. But we don't have the time for it, but there's also lots of other visibility and reports. So right now we know which issues we have, and we know we can fix some of them, and so we could look at the details. But what I could do also is select all of those apps and click on fix. Now what this is going to do is to create a transform. So all our fixes, all our modifications will be put into a transform file. For those that are of you that are, know about MSI, it's the best way to create changes. So we don't modify your existing package, so you keep your vendor support, but we add that transform file. So that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to click on fix, and if we look into those where my MSIs are right now, if I look at ACDC, for example, I've got an MSI, and when I click on fix, Changebase is going to create that transform file, that response file, that we're going to see here in a few seconds. So again, Changebase is going to fix multiple applications at a time. Here we only have 7 or 8. If we add 200, same thing, just click on a button and we come back a few hours later. This could take weeks or months if you do this manually. So this is our transform. Now, another great addition to the Changebase capability is that now we can also edit those MSIs and transform files. So now Changebase comes with MSI Studio, which is an MSI editing capability tool. So if you don't have an MSI editor, you can use it to edit those packages. So that's it. All those apps have been fixed. Now we can see that I've got 3 that are green, ready to go. I can look at the what has been fixed by looking into MSI Studio. And look at the different fixes. So that's an MSI editor, and I can go on. If you look at the details, of what has been changed, some shortcuts have been added to the tables, some property, and so on. And then the last step, so now these packages are ready to go to the platform that we selected. They have been remediated, and if we want now, we can also virtualize packages automatically. So same thing, to virtualize, you need to use the vSequencer, and it takes time. Again, we can automate that process. So I've run out of time right now. We only have 2 minutes left, but we'll be really happy to demonstrate that to you later. So, or come and see us. And I was about to mention that, or go back to the key benefits of Changebase, really, which is about saving time and resource by doing this automated testing, automated remediation, automated virtualization, but also improving the decision making, so giving you the right visibility on knowing exactly which apps are good to go or not. Increase the deployment quality of those apps, and really the end goal is to decrease the risk, making sure that all your applications are going to work on Windows 7 and Windows 8. If you want to learn more about Changebase, you can go to our website. So the DELL website, and you look for Changebase or quest.com/Changebase. We have a great community also of packaging experts where you can read many articles about Changebase. You can contact me directly at christophe_jono@dell.com, or easier, you can come also and talk to us at the Dell booth today. Thank you all for your attendance, and I wish you all a good tech days. Thank you.